Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into part 2 of chapter 24 of Marked by PC Cast and Kristen Cast, so let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. And now here I was, rejecting him and making him uncomfortable again. It's a wonder the kid ever talked to me. Clearly, I was taking this high priestess thing way too seriously. So how about walking me back to my dorm again, I asked. Sounds good. This time, Nala complained when I tried to carry her. Instead, she trotted along after us while Eric and I fell into step together. As easily as we had before. We didn't say anything for a while. I wanted to ask him about Aphrodite, or at the very least tell him what she'd said to me about him, but I couldn't come up with a good way of saying something that I probably didn't have any business questioning him about. So what were you doing out here this time? He asked. Thinking, I said, which technically wasn't a lie. I had been thinking a lot before, during, and after the circle casting. I was conveniently not going to mention. Oh, are you worried about the Heath kid? Actually, I hadn't thought about Heath or Kayla since I talked to Nefret, but I shrugged, not wanting to get specific about what I'd been thinking. I mean, I guess it's probably hard to break up with someone just because you got marked, he said. I didn't break up with him because I got marked. He and I were pretty much finished before that. The mark just made it more final. I looked at Eric and took a deep breath. What about you and Aphrodite? He blinked in surprise. What do you mean? I mean, today she told me that you'll never be her ex because you'll always be hers. His eyes narrowed, and he looked truly pissed. Aphrodite has a serious problem with telling the truth. Well, not that it's any of my business. It is your business, he said quickly, and then totally and utterly shocking me, he took my hand. At least I'd like it to be your business. Oh, I said, okay, well, okay. Once again, I was sure I was astounding him with my witty conversation skills. So you weren't just avoiding me tonight, you really had something to do, he asked slowly. I wasn't avoiding you, there's just, I hesitated, not sure how the hell to explain something I was pretty sure I shouldn't explain to him. There's a lot of stuff going on with me right now. This whole change thing is pretty confusing sometimes. It gets better, he said, squeezing my hand. Somehow, for me, I doubt it, I muttered. He laughed and tapped my mark with his finger. You're just ahead of some of the rest of us. That's hard at first, but believe me, it gets easier even for you. I sighed. I hope so, but I doubted it. We stopped in front of the dorm and he turned to me, his voice suddenly low and serious. Z, don't believe the crap Aphrodite says. She and I haven't been together in months. But you used to be, I said. He nodded, and his face looked strained. She's not a very nice person, Eric. I know that. And then I realized what had really been bothering me and decided, oh well, what the hell, I'll just say it. I don't like it that you'd be with someone who's so mean. It makes me feel funny about wanting to be with you. He opened up his mouth to say something, but I kept talking, not wanting her to hear an excuse I wasn't sure I should or could believe. Thanks for walking me home. I'm glad you found me again. I'm glad I found you too, he said. I'd like to see you again, Z, and not just by accident. I hesitated and wondered why I was hesitating. I did want to see him again. I needed to forget Aphrodite. Seriously, she is really pretty, and he is a guy. He probably fell into her haggish and hot clutches before he knew what was happening. I mean, she did kind of remind me of a spider. I should be glad that she hadn't bitten his head off. And give the guy a chance. Okay, how about I watch those dorky DVDs with you Saturday? I said before I could freakishly talk myself out of going out with the most gorgeous guy in school. It's a date, he said. Obviously giving me time to pull away if I wanted to, Eric slowly bent down and kissed me. His lips were warm, and he smelled really good. The kiss was soft and nice. Honestly, it made me want to kiss me more. Too soon it was over, but he didn't move away from me. We were standing close, and I realized that I had my hands on his chest. His were resting lightly on my shoulders. I smiled up at him. I'm glad you asked me out again, I said. I'm glad you finally said yes, he said. Then he kissed me again, only this time he wasn't hesitant. This kiss deepened and my arms went up around his shoulders. I felt more than heard his moan as he kissed me long and hard. It was like he flipped a switch somewhere deep inside me, and hot, sweet electric desire flashed through me. It was crazy and amazing, and more than anyone else's kisses had ever made me feel. I loved the way my body fitted his heart again, soft, and I pressed myself against him, forgetting about Aphrodite and the circle I just cast and the entire rest of the world. This time, when we broke off the kiss, we were both breathing hard, and we stared at each other. As my senses started to return to me, I realized that I was totally smushed against him, and that I'd been standing there in front of the door making out where Everyone could see us. I started to pull out of his arms. What's wrong? Why do you suddenly look different? He said, tightening his arms around me. Eric, I'm not like Aphrodite. I pulled harder and let him go. I know you're not. I wouldn't want to be with you if you were like her. I don't mean just my personality. I mean standing out here making out with you, someone I hardly know, in public isn't normal behavior for me. Okay, he reached one hand toward me as though he wanted to pull me back into his arms, but then he seemed to change his mind, and his hand fell to his side. Zoe, you make me feel different than anyone has ever made me feel before. I felt my face getting hot, and I couldn't tell if it was from anger or embarrassment. Don't patronize me, Eric. I saw you in the hall with Aphrodite. You've clearly felt this kind of stuff before, and more. He shook his head, and I saw the hurt in his eyes. What Aphrodite made me feel was all physical. What you make me feel is about touching my heart. I know the difference, Zoe, and I thought you did too. I stared at him in those gorgeous blue eyes that had seemed to touch me the first time he looked at me. I'm sorry, I said softly. That was mean of me. I do know the difference. Promise me that you won't let Aphrodite come between us. I promise. It scared me, but I mean it. Good. Nala materialized out of the dark and started winding around my legs and complaining. I better get her inside and put her to bed. Okay, he smiled and gave me a quick kiss. See you Saturday, Z. My lips tingled all the way up to my room. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.